You intended to strike the same housemate with the mannequin tripod. Physical violence is non-negotiable. Is this understood?
Understood, big brother.
Neliswa,
Yes, big brother.
you are hereby disqualified from the Big Brother house.
If a man would have done what Neliswa did, we wouldn't even debate it. We wouldn't even be analyzing the context. We wouldn't even be calling him brave. We would be destroying him. But because it was a woman, because the word GBV was involved, because emotions were high, suddenly assault became activism. And right there is the problem. When Neliswa was disqualified, when Neliswa was disqualified from the Big Brother Mzansi house for physically hitting Q, the internet split in two. Some people called her reckless, some people called her a hero, a warrior, a woman standing up against gender-based violence. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You cannot fight violence with violence and claim the moral high ground. Let's slow this down. Gender-based violence, GBV, is a real and painful issue in South Africa. Women have suffered enough. Even men have suffered enough. Families have suffered enough. Families have been destroyed. The country has scars. So when emotions run high, people understand anger. But understanding anger is not the same as justifying assault. If you claim to stand against GBV, you are standing against violence as a solution, period. Let's stop pretending. Neliswa was not disqualified because she's strong. She was not disqualified because she's fearless. She was not disqualified because she stood up for women. She was disqualified because she put her hands on someone, which is totally unacceptable. That's GBV. That's the same thing you claim to be fighting for. In the moment you put your hands on someone, you lose the moral high ground. You already lost the moral argument. I don't care what the trigger was. I don't care how heated the moment felt. I don't care what the narrative Twitter wants to build around it. If you claim to be fighting gender-based violence and your method of protest is violence, you are not a hero. You are a contradiction, a hypocrite. You cannot fight the monster by becoming it. GBV is real. It is ugly. It is traumatic. But violence does not become holy just because you stamp it with a hashtag. Assault does not transform into activism because the person throwing the hit believes they are morally superior. Violence is violence, whether from a man or from a woman. And here's where the hypocrisy explodes. When a man hits a woman, society, rightly so, calls him trash, right? And dangerous, weak. We don't ask for context. We don't say maybe she provoked him. We don't applaud his emotional reaction. We condemn it immediately. So how is it different when it's a woman? And when a woman hits a man, suddenly it's layered, it's political. Suddenly she was defending women. Suddenly it's empowerment. That double standard is poison. You cannot scream end GBV while normalizing female on male violence. You cannot demand protection from harm while celebrating harm when it just suits your side. That's not justice. That's selective outrage. And selective outrage is not morality, it's tribalism. Some people are calling Neliswa brave. Let's define bravery for a moment, right? Bravery is restraint. Bravery is self-control. Bravery is standing in your principles without losing discipline when you are angry. Throwing a hit is easy. Controlling yourself is hard. If you truly believe violence destroys lives, then you don't do it. Ever. Not ever. Not when you're emotional, not when you're triggered, not when you feel righteous. Because the truth is this, when society laughs at men getting hit, cheers when women get physical, and excuses it as less serious, We are quietly teaching that some people's safety matters more than others. That is not equality. That is bias dressed up as progress. You don't dismantle violent culture by participating in it. You don't dismantle it by refusing to contribute to it, even when you're furious. And let's address something uncomfortable. Being angry about GBV does not give you a free pass to become physical or aggressive. Trauma does not grant immunity from accountability. Passion does not cancel consequences. If the roles were reversed, would we be calling a man a hero for hitting a woman in the name of defending men? No. We would destroy him. We would obliterate that man. So why are some people trying to crown Neliswa for doing something we would condemn instantly if the gender was flipped? Don't you have sons, brothers, uncles? That is hypocrisy. And hypocrisy weakens every real movement. Because once people see that the rules change depending on who throws the punch, they stop taking the cause seriously. If you are against violence, you are against violence, full stop, against anybody, man or woman. Not violence when men do it, not violence only when women suffer, not violence unless it feels emotionally justified. All of it. Neliswa isn't a symbol of resistance. She's an example of how easy it is for people to believe their anger makes them righteous. It doesn't. It only perpetuates the thing that you are trying to stop from happening. And if we keep on clapping when our side becomes physical, we are not ending GBV. We are recycling it. We are teaching the next generation that violence is acceptable as long as you can explain it. Violence is acceptable as long as a woman does it. Does that make sense to you? That is not activism, that's ego. If we really want a society free from violence, then the standard must be brutal in its consistency. Nobody gets to put hands on anyone. Nobody gets a pass for violence. Not women, not men, not for the cause, not ever. Anything less is performance, and performance does not protect anyone. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. This subject really tugs at my heart because it bothers me how some people have double standards, So if you got a thought or an opinion, throw it up in the comment section and let's talk about it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like and share, and I'll see you on the next one.